All right. Well, hello, and welcome everyone to our BG5 Live. Today is July 7th, 2020. This is episode number 60. And today we're going to take a look at success breeds success. So we're going to be taking a look at success breeds success in new beginnings. So that's what we're going to be taking a look at today. So before we jump in and get started, let's say hello to our panel. So hello, and welcome, Natalie.
Yay, hello. Yes, I'm very happy to be here. And today it's your time.
Yes, it is.
And Chris's, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Very cool. Yeah, and Chris.
Yeah, hi everyone. Welcome. We're super glad you're here. This could be some fresh content, some new beginnings here today. So,
love that.
welcome.
Love that. And Rob may be joining us. I'm not quite sure, so hopefully he will jump in and join us shortly. So let's take a look at new beginnings. Let's take a look at this success that breeds success. So once again, just kind of taking a look at where we are and where we're going, we did take a look at the 15, that diversity, that love of humanity in identity and direction. You know, it's very interesting because that love of humanity is still present in the future direction. And I just wanted to mention something. We've probably been under a lot of pressure. I've been talking with Natalie about this last week. It felt like there was just a lot of pressure and things were really, really heavy. And so it's really watching both of you drink out of a white cup. But it's just been really, sorry.
You're feeling a pressure to drink out of a white mug now?
It's like, oh, my mug's not, my mug's green. But I just wanted to do a shout out just because there has just felt like there was a lot of pressure. You know, both Natalie and I were talking about just realizing, just in a sense, the damage that's been done with, the economically, with the shutdown, with the virus, with the protests, with the riots, with all the craziness that's been going on. And, just kind of feeling the impact of it. And again, just really recognizing one of the things that I was really present to is, how important it is to really love ourselves. And when we truly love and trust ourselves, that's when we can truly love humanity as well. And so, how many people are suffering or how many people are not really truly loving themselves. And if you can't love yourself, it becomes even more difficult to love humanity. So just to be really gentle with ourselves in this time, because it's we are under a lot of pressure and we're under a lot of pressure to change for new beginnings. So I just wanted to bring that to the surface. Last week, we took a look at stillness. We also took a look at obstruction. So last week, it'd be really curious to hear how things were for you last week, with this obstruction, with this provoking, what was there. And it leads to new beginnings. So, we just stepped into new beginnings yesterday. So now we're in the 53-2. So we'll be talking about that today. And then in the next few weeks, we're going to take a look at moving away from the pressure and back to those collective voices. We'll take a look at details, stories, influence, and retreat later on. But we're still in that pressure, and we're now under that pressure for new beginnings. So before we take a look at beginnings, I would love to hear from our panel just any ahas or anything that you saw, or even anyone who's live here on Facebook or live in our Zoom room, anything that you were present to over the past week in being in obstruction and that pressure or that heaviness. I'm just curious to see if you felt that also. So Chris or Natalie.
I'll speak for myself personally. Last week when we were moving into 39 and it was like, oh my gosh, this is really intense. I do not have trait 39 in my design. And yet I loved what we talked about in trait 39 and some of our folks who were watching on Facebook and also in our Zoom room here had some beautiful insights into trait 39 that really helped me to see it in a different way. And what I recognized by the end of the week was I wanted to get a t-shirt made that said, like, I love being triggered. Like, I love, like, you know, provoke me, baby. Like, it was so, I just got so much out of seeing the beauty of that, seeing how people who carry trait 39 are often very misunderstood. I mean, I knew that on some level, but I got to see it at in a deeper way, in the gift that provocation can bring. And so I'm just so grateful for these weekly meetings here. They seem, you know, I know it seems like, okay, we're just kind of doing this light talk, but it's really, really quite profound. Linda says, LOL, I love provoking, just love the energies last week. Yeah, exactly. Me too. It was really, you know, there was a part of me that just that wanted to resist it. But boy, when I just surrendered to it, it was really quite exquisite. And so I just want to point out there's really no bad aspects, no negative, truly negative aspects of our design. They're all an invitation for us to come into deeper awareness and resonance with ourselves and others. So
love that. Yeah. Love that. Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was my birthday Sunday.
Happy birthday!
Yay! Because I have the 39 in my life work, in my conscious core essence. And even though I have it myself, it was quite pressing, right? And I have a defined drive and stamina. So, you know, usually it impacts less, or in a sense, you know, but it was really a heavy week. So I also think, and this is just in general speaking, the world, the collective energy on top, or the other way around, had the collective energy, and then on top of that, the transit energy really felt heavy. But the interesting thing, actually, on Friday, I had a conversation with Linda Brandwijk, who is also a BG5 consultant here in the Netherlands, and we closely work together. And I actually got to one of my, you know, shadow sides, which I bump into every now and then if I'm really have a lot on my plate. So it is the pressure, right? And what I find interesting, since obstruction, so it is not how and especially for me, I have it in the 5th line, so it's you know, figure out some way to go around it, or you know, but not confront it. So and this is, yeah, I really got kind of a revelation in transcending whatever, you know, my personal thing, which is also what obstruction is about, right? Like, there can be things that are seemingly in the way, but it is also provoking you to look at, you know, other ways to go forward, which I'm very grateful for, actually.
Yeah.
So and then finally, you know, the energy got lighter, at least for me, but it was so even if you have a defined drive and stamina, even if you have the 39 in your core essence, it still can affect you.
Yeah, exactly. Linda was saying she has the 39 too, direct assault. Exactly. You know, and it's very interesting as we take a look at the obstruction, we take a look at where we're moving to now in new beginnings, right? Oftentimes, in order to start something new, right, something has to be provoked, something has to be shaken up, something, you know, sometimes we need a 2x4 on the side of the head. Sometimes they're, you know, we can be asleep, you know, and not be present to things. And it's just the same old. And it's really the provoking that allows us to awaken our spirit so that something new can come forth. Right. So you can sort of see the progression and how they tie in together. So I think it's really a beautiful, you know, step into what beginnings are, because you can't start something new, right, unless you are provoked to start something new in many respects. Yeah, exactly. So let's take a look now at beginnings. And I have a rocket ship here because it really is that fuel to start something new, that fuel to get things off the ground. So it's about development, it's about transition, it's about change, right? So this development, transition, and change needs that pressure, needs that energy. And so it's the fuel needed to begin something new. And it provides the impetus to get a cycle moving. So it is one of the format strengths, and it's the format strength of cycles. So it's beginnings, middles, ends, beginnings, middles, ends. So you need to make sure that you enter into a cycle correctly. It's the development as a structured progression that is both steadfast and enduring, right? And it's the intensity to start something one moment, and it also, that intensity to start something could also fall away the next. So you have to wait for clarity. You have to make sure that, you know, starting something new is correct, because if you enter into a cycle that's not correct, right, you have to, you know, you'll have to complete that cycle one way or another before moving on. So it really is important to enter into a new cycle correctly. So be careful to avoid beginning projects that you're not interested in or not equipped to finish yourself, right? So this is what beginnings are all about. So I would love to hear your input, Natalie and Chris. This is, you actually have, right, the strength of cycles. I also have the 53 of beginnings as part of my conscious grounding. So it's part of my life work as well. But I'd love to hear from either of you first. Chris.
Hi.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to find the right way to start this comment. It's interesting. I had this dream. This dream just popped into my head as you were talking about this. And in the dream, I had somebody come to me and they say, "Here, can you promote this for us?" Like in my design, I'm great at promoting things, and if invited to do so, I mean, just, it was kind of, yes, in some ways it would be correct, but it was actually sort of like, here you have 30 minutes before we're going on air. It's actually to an entire auditorium of people. Here's what we need you to do, blah, blah, blah. And it was just sort of like put on me. It wasn't even invited. It was just sort of like, here's what we need you to do. We'd love for you to do this. And I could feel myself all along the way going, I'm not starting this correctly. This is not starting correctly. This is not starting. And so we get to the point where I'm literally standing on the stage going, why am I standing on this stage? There's hundreds and hundreds of people out there looking at me. I have a whole headset on, I have the microphone, and I just stand there and stare at everybody, and I can't say anything. And it was like, oh, because I didn't start this correct. This is not correct for me. And it was a really interesting dream. It just popped into my head as soon as you asked me about this. It is deeply, deeply profound. It is such a huge piece of my design, and having it unconscious for me is, and it's, you know, in my communication, it's like, am I communicating correctly in order to start something? So this also has so much to do with, for me, whether or not I'm very clear with other people. Yes, I can start that or not. And because oftentimes I'll just like start it and then go, ooh, oopsie, I don't have energy for that. And so it's and then I have to uncommunicate, but get out of that, and that doesn't work so well.
Yeah. A really great example. And it's interesting that your dream was also around communication as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. It was so real and very, people have those dreams about standing in front of a room full of people and they're naked or something like that. I wasn't naked, but I was definitely standing there going, this is not correct. And I just took the headset off and set it aside and walked off the stage. And it was like, whoa. could I just do that? Did I just do that? So,
yeah. So it really is, you know, about beginning things correctly, because again, it puts you into a particular cycle. And, you know, if it's not correct, you can enter into a cycle, especially for you, Chris, and having, you know, that strength, you know, a cycle that may or may not be correct for you, if you, especially if you, you know, are not following your decision-making strategy. Yeah. I also have new beginnings as well. I have it as my conscious grounding. So it's part of my life work theme. And this last week, I'm teaching the BG5 cycles course. And one of the things that I was taking a look at is taking a look back at sort of past cycles, especially the cycle, my first 30-year cycle. And it was funny how many new things I would start. I mean, I started from, even when I was in 3rd grade, we didn't have a play and I wanted to be in a play. So I talked my teachers into doing a play. We did the Muppet Musicians of Bremen and I was Kermit. So, you know, so I began something new. I mean, and even, you know, what I'm doing right now with BG5 and, you know, really starting something new. And, you know, Natalie jokes with me all the time because I always have these new ideas of things that I want to start. And it's like, whoa, right? We need to get this done first. You need to get this completed first before we start anything new.
And that's a great point, because I have the 42 and I'm like, we got to wrap this up. Like, how do we finish this? And sometimes I want to race to the finish of something and get it done. Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm really good at beginning things. I'm not quite as good at finishing things up. So I usually need collaboration with others to get things complete once I get them started. But I love starting new things. I mean, that's just Natalie's laughing.
Well, it's beautiful. It's your quality as well. I mean, a lot of beautiful courses and the workshops and etc. that now turned into a course got out of that enthusiasm that you have. But yeah, also collect the people around to to be able to work it out and do it. And I see on the slide on trait 53 that it also says, you know, the intensity to start something one moment will follow away the next. Like you can be like, woo, and then, you know, also like, oh, and then it doesn't go forward or whatever. You go like, oh. But it is really so drive and stamina is this fuel, this pressurized adrenalized kickstart, right? And then this is the start, the beginnings, and it is really that energy or the what is behind it, right? But then if we are in a meeting and something comes up, then you know, all of these ideas come up in your head, and we could do this, we could do that, and then you already started, you know, whatever, trying it out or whatever, creating something, or see how we can swip it into the website, or, you know, so it is fascinating. But yeah, so then I bring my quality of
focus.
Creative focus, yes. No, but yeah, so take note of the last bullet.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and sometimes also the other thing about it is it is your life work, it is your energy, and in that sense we also moved forward. If you would hold back on every thing that cuts into your creativity to start, you know, you're also 1-3. So it's also through trial and error that we find what works and doesn't work. So yeah, also don't blame yourself if you start something again, right? It's just what it is, and yeah, we'll see where it goes. At least we got to where we are also by this drive, right? So right. Yeah, it's just fascinating to watch.
Yeah, Yeah, it's interesting because on the other side of this, right? Because the especially in your life work, it works in tandem, right, with what's on the opposite side, and so the opposite side is drive, right? It's ambition as well. So
as well.
you can see that new beginnings, and drive, and rising up really really go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're a true personification of how this operates.
Yeah, and when we're taking a look at where mine is in quality 1, and what we're taking a look at here today is quality 2, which is momentum. And so, for example, with quality 1 is creating something new, not from scratch, but based on something from the past. So again, with BG5, it fits in perfectly. Here, we're taking a look at momentum. Right. So now we're in quality 2, which is momentum, which is the natural. And this is about success breeds success. So when we take a look at the elevation, this is the pressure to start something based on past success. This is the protection of early success that nurtures future achievement. Right. So you have all of these successes, and it leads to something more and something more, right? So it's success breeds success. The challenge of that can be the pressure based on success to be impatient for something new. So it's a tendency with early success to haste and prudent action. Right. So hasty and prudent action, where you act before, you think that everything's been success so that you can act. So again, it all comes down to making sure that the timing is correct, right? Making decisions to make sure that that timing, when you start something, when you begin something, is correct. Yeah. And I was just looking at Linda's comment from earlier when Chris was talking about walking off the stage. Walking off the stage equals empowerment at the point you recognize what is correct or what is not correct. Yeah. So, it takes courage to be able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. Beautiful. So any thoughts on success breeds success? What trait is yours in again, Chris?
I don't know.
4.
It's in 4.
4. Yeah.
But and we have let's see, Linda is also, she is both on Facebook and in the Zoom room, but she has it twice in conscious and unconscious in judge and discipline, but the first line quality and the fourth line quality.
Yeah, we have and Angela, who's in my foundation course, has the 53-6, 53-2, and 53-1. Angela,
yeah, wow,
bring in the 53s. Yeah. I love it.
And there is someone else in Facebook has the 53-2, the second quality in driving force, Lisa.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Lisa, is she also live in the Zoom room? I don't know. So it's oh no, that's another one. So it will be interesting to hear from you if you could write in the chat over there how you experienced it, and if you recognize what we share, and feel the pressure to begin.
Yeah, and that's the pressure for new beginnings. Remember, this is the natural too. Right. So it's things that need to be, in a sense, called out and recognized by others. And so, it's the pressure to start, and when recognized also, and have it pulled out by others, to oh, I was successful in that. Oh, I didn't really know I was a natural in that. Really, that it came so easily that you sometimes just like write it off. It was just so easy. It was so natural. But it's like, I was recognized for that, and I was successful in that, right? I can be successful in doing this. I can be successful in doing this. And again, that success that breeds success.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you stated as if it is a something in the mind. I can be successful in that, but they probably will not even know.
Right.
Yeah, because it isn't the natural. It's other people who see it, and they just go like, well, I just do what I do, and then from one success, maybe there are, they are projected upon, wow, you really have a talent for this, could you, whatever, right? And they go like, well, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the funny thing about the second line quality. They themselves don't know they are a natural talent in whatever they do, right? They're just in their, they're just doing what they do.
Right.
Just being.
Exactly.
I love that.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Oh, we're cruising right along today. So any other thoughts or comments, and then we'll take a look at the well-known figure who has this.
So Linda says she loves starting new things, and Lisa says I'm always starting new things, and Linda says I'm often building on things I have already done before. The 53 first quality. So yeah.
It's interesting that she's saying that. Because I have the 42 also, my experience is that there are times where I will start things and complete them. And if I have fully completed them, I'm done. Like I'm done. I won't even go back. I'm just like, did that even happen? Sometimes I'm so done that somebody will say, remember when we were doing this thing? And I'm like, I did that? Said, yes, you were there. You were actually leading it. I'm like, really? Huh, that's so interesting. Was it good? I mean, that's how done I can be. And again, it's mostly unconscious for me, and it's fascinating. But I've started many things. I have a lot of unfinished canvases leaning against the wall over there that if I notice that if I start it with a certain intent and a certain energy, it's much easier for me to complete it versus, something else. And I really have brought that more into my conscious awareness, even though it is unconscious. Painting has taught me that. Business has taught me that. Having programs and services have taught me that. Over time, I've become more and more cognizant of the feeling of now is the time to start something versus my mind telling me, you got to start something. Just get in there. And that's a different very experience and a very different outcome.
I think that's really so important what you just said, Chris, because, it really is, we're talking about starting the cycles correctly, but there is there's in a sense that there's a different energy. I love how you explained it, sort of a different energy when you're beginning something and it's correct, and a different energy when you're, going, oh, I should start something. I should, make it happen, right? There's a whole different energy in starting something correctly or when you're not. Yes. And not only is there a different energy in the starting, right, the whole process then has a different feel and a different energy.
Totally. Exactly. And Angela says, I call it my project wasteland of all the things I started but didn't complete. I no longer make myself wrong for it. And I love what you just said there, Angela, because here's the thing, like this is a great gift you have a great gift for launching people and bringing the energy for somebody to get started. It doesn't mean you have to be the one who helps them finish it and implement it. That's just not the energy you bring, right? If you only have the 53 and you don't have the 42, you aren't necessarily here to complete things, though you're going to feel the pressure to, especially if you're a builder type and have your sacral defined. So there's a lot of, I think there's just so much wisdom that we have to look at that here and go, okay, well, where am I launching people in the business? And that's enough. That's a gift. That's beautiful. And, but when we judge ourselves around it, that's where, when it starts to be limited in its expression, we won't start anything because we're like, I'm afraid to start. And yet at the same time, like, how could the wisdom of starting things actually be part of what you're here to do? And again, the way Karen works with it, she's launched BG5 and with her team has been able to help implement and bring to life those law chains. And so again, it's also looking at here where we can collaborate and help each other out, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'd like to get back to something you said, because it is something that I remember Tuck also mentioned about if you have the full strength, but also in essence the circuitry that this one is the experiential circuitry, and it is through experience learning a lesson. So I'm very logical. I try and see and repeat to make it to perfect it. But this is just experiencing for the experience sake. And then you don't know what you're going to learn and what the outcome will be, but the outcome and the learning is at the end. And then you only take the learning. And Tuck also said, the rest, the whole process, it's gone. And I found it fascinating, because for me, the energy is kind of, I take the learning and I perfect it and I perfect it and and you just go, well, next experience.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So
yeah, exactly. The experience, just like what Chris was talking about, been there, done that. What's next? Been there, done that. What's next? Right. And when you complete a cycle correctly, you don't get caught in sort of this Groundhog Day of everything like repeating over and over and over and over again. Like you can't get out of the cycle. It keeps, showing up. It's when you bring that cycle to its full completion, that you have the ability to, in a sense, let it go, right? Because again, it no longer serves you. That cycle has come to an end. And it's time to move on. It's one of the things that we're taking a look at. Again, I'm teaching the cycles course, right? Taking a look at the different life cycles, and different cycles that you have throughout your life. And once you're done with one cycle, right, if you can complete it correctly, you can step fully into the next cycle and let the past go. Yeah.
Yeah. We have some more sharing. So Leah says, I don't have either the 53 or the 42. So sometimes I struggle with starting and sometimes I struggle with finishing, which is, I know. I don't have it either. And then Linda says, my partner has the 42. So Linda had the 53 twice. So together we make a great team. Me starting and him finishing. He's also an emotional beetle, so he helps bring the energy to get things done when he's in the mood. So beautiful, that. And then Chris says, you can borrow that energy from someone who has the full strength. Yeah, or the other side, exactly. Oh, you said that too, Leah, yes. And I'll also that one. Okay.
Yeah, really, really great sharing. Yeah. And so this is something to kind of take a look at throughout this week is, where in a sense, sometimes you need to get things really complete before beginning something new. Right. And, so where are you beginning something new, and are you beginning something new in a correct way, in a correct space with the correct energy? And if we take a look at the public figure that has this, it's interesting. John D. Rockefeller has a 53-2 as his core essence. So the life work is penetration. So you seem happy in the moment, yet feel the pressure to achieve recognition by beginning something new, and know intuitively how to initiate others to join in. So he was an American business magnate, and he's widely considered the wealthiest American of all time and the richest person in modern history. He founded the Standard Oil Company in 1870, controlling 90% of the oil in the United States at its peak. And Rockefeller revolutionized the petroleum industry through corporate and technological innovations. And there's also other things that he may have begun as well. So it's just, so again, just fascinating how, he was really, instrumental in, knowing how to intuitively initiate others to join in, and really beginning something new. So again, very, very interesting to see once again the celebrity or the public figure that has this, and to really see how, you know, that contributed to, you know, what they contributed and what they were recognized for. Very cool. All right. Well, anything for either of you that you want to add? No. Anyone else?
Well,
Right.
I mean, just also look at his ambition. I'll just point out his trait 54 ambition there. Like,
Yep.
I mean,
exactly. Remember, they go hand in hand.
yeah, they go hand in hand there. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So you actually have it, you know, switched around, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was Natalie's birthday. It was my half birthday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
That's so funny.
Exactly.
All right. Well, again, you know, it's starting new beginnings with both of us. And again, if you one of the new beginnings that you may be interested in starting is finding out more about BG5. So again, if you are new to BG5, you can get a free report by visiting our website. Also, if you want to get a sense of, you know, what the daily theme is all about, you can take a look and look it up for yourself here. If you go to the website, scroll down, you'll see BG5 Live. You can also check out any of the past episodes in our free resource library. And again, you can check out our courses and programs. We have courses that are coming up, I believe in August, as
August
well as
6th. Yeah.
Yep, August and September. So we have we constantly have courses that are starting. So so check out the courses, and if you are inspired and want a new beginning and really starting to understand about yourself, about your own design, you know, this is a great place to start. Awesome. So what I'd like to wrap up with is to hear from each of our panel, and if there's anyone else who wants to chime in as well. What are some things to just pay attention to, be aware of, things that just to notice, to just support us in moving forward this week and taking a look at new beginnings?
Well, I would say that everybody, excuse me, has this activated right now. So even Leah, who's saying, I don't have any of it right now, you do. Everybody does. Trait 53 is activated for each of us. And so to be following your decision-making strategy, regardless of your design, regardless of whether or not you have trait 53 defined or not, is really looking at where are you, what are you responding to as a builder? What are you being invited to as an advisor? What are you being initiated into as an evaluator? What are you being called to initiate as an innovator or manifestor? So what really get clear in yourself, and you're just using your decision-making strategy before you jump into action. This, you know, and so just to notice that, because again, this is also what happens, is that it's like we all want new and improved, fresh and new, like new, you know, it's like, I don't want that old thing, I want new. And so there's so much that reinforces that new, let's do something new, that actually it could be just you're doing the same thing, but it's a new mindset. It could be you're doing the same thing and it's a new way of looking at it. Could be that it's a new way of being with another person. You know, there doesn't have to be a radical change of new. It can be a slight tweak in the way that you're present to whatever it is that you're doing. And so again, just notice that this week, and where you're really feeling the pull for that, and trusting yourself.
Yeah, beautifully said, Chris. Thank you.
Yeah.
How about for you, Natalie?
Yeah, you took away my words. No, and you expressed it way better. The other thing that I want to add, which we refer to each week as well. So this was like, how do you personally deal with it? It is pressure. So really follow your decision-making strategy, but then also see in the news and in the world, you know, what all of a sudden gets rolling, or where things start showing up, new beginnings, right? I'm just curious what this week will bring in that sense. So that's the other part of it.
Yeah.
That I want to add.
Yes, so T. Harvey was asking, how long will it be in the trait 53 energy? For the next probably 4 to 5 days, approximately. Right. And then we'll move into, again, we'll move out of that pressure, and then it's going to be focused more on details. So we'll be moving from new beginnings to focusing on the details.
And to also answer T. Harvey, this is something you can look up in the BG5 Live theme on our website. It's refreshed every 5 minutes, so you can see where it is right now, right? And then just follow along where it is.
Yeah, and Linda just said it's until July 13th. Thank you, Linda. Yeah, so until July 13th is when we'll be experiencing that energy. Yeah, great question. So yeah, and so again, I love what both Natalie and Chris said. Paying attention to it for yourself, but also paying attention to it in the world as well. So again, it may be correct for you to start something new. It may be correct for you to, wrap things up and get things finished so that you can approach things in a new way. Many of us have been sort of, fed up with the way things are in a lot of different realms, and so where are we starting something new? And the key always, always, always is following your decision-making strategy. Because just as Chris mentioned earlier, if you're starting something from what you think you should start, if it's coming from the head, it has a completely different quality than if you're starting something correctly by following your decision-making strategy. So follow your decision-making strategy. Again, that is what's going to let you know if it is correct to start something or not, to begin something new or not. All right, everyone. It has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we'll see you all next week. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.